Good evening, everyone, and welcome to tonight's telephone town hall. I'm Adam Hardiman with the Wood Buffalo Recovery Task Force, and I'll be your moderator again this evening. Thank you for being with us for our 13th telephone town hall since re-entry in June. Before we begin, if you are on a cell phone and your call gets dropped, you can rejoin us by streaming it at rmwb.ca/townhall. At this time, I'd like to turn things over to Jeanette Bankars, Chair of the Wood Buffalo Recovery Committee, for a brief introduction.
Thank you, Adam. Good evening, everyone, and welcome. The Wood Buffalo Recovery Committee and Task Force, in collaboration with the Government of Alberta, Council, municipal staff, and our many partners, continues to be here for you as we work together to help the community recover. First, I'd like to introduce you to tonight's participants. From the Wood Buffalo Recovery Committee, we have Councillor Sheldon Germain and Keith McGrath. From the Wood Buffalo Recovery Task Force and the Regional Municipality of Wood Buffalo, we have Mark Forte, Acting Interim Team Lead. From the Recovery Task Force, Bryce Horbaczewski, Acting Manager of Operations with the Wood Buffalo Recovery Task Force. Isela Contreras, Supervisor of Development and Control with Planning and Development. Maria Nourani, Senior Economic Development Officer with Economic Development. And also joining us are from the Canadian Red Cross, Melanie Solaire and Callie Forbes, and from the Insurance Bureau of Canada, Rob Dupree. Last Thursday, in collaboration with our partners, we hosted our 11th Here For You community engagement session at Shell Place. The session focused on a change to the land use bylaw called the Wildfire Overlay, passed by Council last Tuesday. This change was developed in collaboration with residents and the Abasand Rebuild Committee and will make it easier for residents in the most affected areas of our community to rebuild. To learn more about this change, please visit rmwb.ca. Thanks to the many of you that took the time to join us, whether you attended the session or watched the presentation live on Facebook, and to many of our community partners for being there for our residents. We look forward to continuing the conversation. And as we speak, the Here For You campaign is holding a community engagement session tonight in Anzac at the Anzac Community Hall until 8 p.m. Recovery efforts will take all of us working together as a region, and we look forward to more engagement with our rural and Indigenous residents in the weeks and months ahead. On Wednesday, join us at 5 p.m. for the next public meeting at the Wood Buffalo Recovery Committee and Council Chambers at Jubilee Centre. You can view the agenda for the meeting now at rmwb.ca. If you can't make it, the meeting is live streamed at rmwb.ca and is broadcast live on Shaw TV, Fort McMurray. This Thursday from 4 till 8 p.m., the next Here For You community engagement session takes place. Only this time it will be at Jubilee Plaza, not at Shell Place. This will be a general recovery update as we head into Thanksgiving weekend as a community. So there will be no in-person presentations or Facebook feed this week. Please check rmwb.ca/engage for the latest times and locations for community engagement sessions and to view past presentations and session recaps. Now I'd like to update you on some of the areas that we received the most questions about on last week's town hall, at our community engagement sessions, on social media, and via email and through the Pulse line. On demolition and rebuilding, significant progress has been made on demolition and debris cleanup. There have been 1,680 demolition permit applications received, 1,639 permits issued, 634 post-demolition inspections have been completed, and 125 development permits have been approved. Home construction is underway. The September 30th deadline to have an approved demolition permit through specs or your own contractor has passed. Currently, the municipality is beginning to help the community clear debris and facilitate rebuilding by facilitating any remaining demolition work that is required. For any residents or contractors that had started demolition work before September 30th that is not yet complete, there is a grace period until October 17th to finish the work. Overall, the goal is to complete demolition and debris removal for the community by the end of the month. The process for Phase 2 reentry to green or standing homes in restricted areas is dependent on the completion of demolition and debris removal, so our neighborhoods can be safe for those remaining families in standing homes to move home permanently. On Waterways, earlier today, the results of the Waterways survey were released to the community. The survey ran from September 8th to September 30th and followed a Here For You engagement session on Waterways on September 8th. Waterways residents were asked to indicate which of the 3 rebuild options, if any, was the preferred choice. Options included status quo, internal land swap, and external land swap. The above 3 options are a result of the Wood Buffalo Recovery Committee and Task Force initial review and were presented as a first step towards gathering feedback from residents. We recognize that there may be other options, and as part of the survey, we encouraged Waterways residents to share other potential options for consideration. 146 surveys were completed, with 68% of residents selecting status quo as the preferred rebuild option. A fourth option, a potential buyout, was presented by residents. The municipality will continue to explore this option to determine what such a program could look like and to fully understand the financial implications of this proposed option. And an update from the Canadian Red Cross. Starting Tuesday, October 11th, appointments with the Red Cross will occur at their new location at 10019B Franklin Avenue. Residents with unmet needs as a result of the fires can call 1-888-553-5505 to make an appointment with a Red Cross caseworker. Thank you.
Well, thank you very much, Jeanette. And before we move on with the call, we'll remind everyone to press *3 on your phone's keypad and give your question to the operator. If you are joining us online, please type your question into the question field at rmwb.ca/townhall. I'd like to remind our listeners out there, we do have our third council member of the Wood Buffalo Recovery Committee with us, Councillor Alan Vinnie. So thank you, Mr. Vinnie, for joining us. Before we move on, however, I'd like to ask Rob Dupree from the Insurance Bureau of Canada for a brief update. Rob?
Thanks, Adam, and thank you everyone for listening in. As we continue on the rebuilding journey together, IBC is available in Fort McMurray, by phone and email to provide support, guidance, and assistance when you have questions about insurance. We have consumer information officers that can answer your general insurance questions. We can be reached at 1-8442-ASK-IBC or via email at fortmac, that's M-A-C, fire, @ibc.ca. Dave Johnson is still available downtown in the Hardin Street building on the main floor, weekdays between 10 a.m. to 4:30 p.m. to guide you through the claims process and answer your questions. Stop by and see him this week. You may already be at the stage of choosing a contractor to complete the necessary repairs to your home. Many insurers have established relationships with fire and smoke remediation contractors and can vouch for their experience and quality of work. Many insurers also guarantee the work of the service providers that they recommend. You are, however, not obligated to use a contractor recommended by your insurance company. You have the right to use the service provider of your choice for the necessary repairs to your property. Before signing any work authorization, please speak to your adjuster first to ensure that they are prepared to pay the amount on the estimate based on your specific policy and available limits of coverage. We have updated our Fort McMurray webpage at ibc.ca, providing answers to more of the community's frequently asked questions. Check out ibc.ca. We are here to help the residents of the RMWB with rebuilding and with your insurance concerns.
Well, thanks very much, Rob. And as always, we will do our best to answer your questions. So let's get started. Remember to press *3 to ask a question, and an operator will take your question. Or you can type that question into the question field at rmwb.ca/townhall. So let's go to our first question. This one is coming in online. It is from Michelle. Michelle is asking, I saw some information earlier today on taxation relief being issued by the municipality. Can you give me some more information on what that entails? So I can actually take this one, I guess, on this side of things, Michelle. So thank you so much for the question. So we did issue a press release. It was about the details of that taxation relief program. I know it was initially a motion of Councillor McGrath with the Wood Buffalo Recovery Committee, and then it went through the committee as well and was then recommended back to Council, and I believe it was approved on August 30th. So the information that you would have saw today would have been more of the details of how that program will be administered. So a huge thank you to everybody involved. Of course, thank you to our residents. So you can visit rmwb.ca/wildfire tax relief for more information on that program. To summarize it, it'll be a 1/12 property tax reduction, residential property tax reduction for everyone across the region. And there's a second category that is that, plus homes that were restricted until reentry. And then there's a third category, which is those two categories, plus any homes that were destroyed until completion of reconstruction or until December 31st, 2016. So check that out. Letters are being sent to our property owners with more details, and there's some additional information online. Like I said, rmwb.ca/wildfire tax relief follows a recommendation of the Wood Buffalo Recovery Committee and an earlier motion at Council of Councillor McGrath, who was on the Wood Buffalo Recovery Committee. So thank you so much, Michelle, for the question. We're going to move on. This one also online, and this one is actually from Norm. So question here from Norm. Thanks, Norm, for writing this one in. He's asking, can we have a tentative date on Phase 2 reentry? So assuming he means Abasam, Beacon Hill, as well as Waterways above the floodplain, and for a concrete update on Waterways. So perhaps maybe Bryce Horbaczewski, our acting manager of operations for the task force, can talk about Phase 2 reentry. I know it's related to demolition and debris removal, and then we can talk about some Waterways as well.
So as we get closer to our end date here of October 31st.
So it looks like we had some technical difficulties there. So for Phase 2, what we're looking at is the debris removal has to take place in the community. So whether it's Abasam or Beacon Hill or Waterways above the floodplain, that debris removal needs to take place initially. And then so our deadline for that right now will be at the end of October. So when October ends, we meet those timelines, we'll be able to initiate that process, and those neighborhoods would no longer be restricted. We'll also go to Councillor Sheldon Germain, who wanted to weigh in. I know it was a question from Norm, so Councillor McGrath, if you could go after that. So go to Councillor Germain first, then Councillor McGrath.
Thanks, Norm. Once the debris removal's done, then we should have Phase 2 re-entry by the end of October. That is definitely the goal. And we've pushed hard with the demolition orders. And we've continued to work hard to make sure that we secure a contractor to make sure those removals are done.
Yeah, thanks, Norm, for a very well-thought question. What I see is the demolition permit or demolition order allows for those homes now that are surrounded with the debris that's left over to expedite the Phase 2 reentry. And I know our crew upstairs are working hard with those homeowners to get those properties cleaned up to mitigate the risk that the neighbors don't have to put up and have any health hazards that are associated with the debris cleanup. And we suspect that'll be in the next couple of weeks. And I'm sure by the middle of October, you'll have a firm date on all the issues with the remaining reentry and Waterways as well. I'm very optimistic. The crews are working hard, maybe not fast enough for some, but you never, ever go too fast when the safety of your residents are at peril.
Well, thanks for that, Councillor McGrath. I'm actually going to go back to Mr. Horbaczewski. He's got his microphone, is working once again. So we'll go back to Bryce. Bryce, I know we had another question in the online queue that was about where we are with the municipal side of the debris and demolition cleanup, which ties in to Phase 2 reentry. So maybe you can speak to that.
Yeah, I apologize for the last answer there, but going forward with our demolition RFP that we just sent out is that we just screened everybody that qualified for our contractors. We we narrowed it down to 5 out of 10 that applied for the RFP. And where we're sitting right now is that we've divided up as best that we can amongst those contractors to be able to expedite the demolition process. Every contractor that we talked to today feels that they can meet those dates of October 31st, which again would also coincide with getting the houses safe for reentry on the demolition part of the reentry plan.
Well, thanks, Norm, for the question, and thank you, Bryce, Councillor Germain, Councillor McGrath. I know, Norm, you also had a question about Waterways, so we did mention off the top of the call, I'm not sure if you were with us by that point, we did release the results of the Waterways resident survey earlier today. You can go online and check out the full details, but essentially, as our chair, Jeanette Bankar, said off the top of the call, 68% of respondents selecting the status quo option, which is in line with what we heard at our engagement session on September 8th. I can't speak for council, but if one of them would like to weigh in, that would be great. I know tomorrow night we'll be discussing the land use bylaw and the flood zone restriction that will be debated, I think, at second and third reading. So, Councillor McGrath, if you wanted to talk about that.
Thank you, Adam. And I guess back to Norm, we all have those questions, and certainly the residents of Waterways and Potomac Park certainly on our minds. And, we're working with the provincial government. And I noticed there's some comments around, the survey that was done, that was released today. Certainly Facebook is not the only tool that we engage our residents with. Our recovery offices are open 5 days a week. And for councillors, they're open 7 days a week. We have 2 public sessions of Here for Now, Here for You. I'd call them Here for Now, Here for You. And any time that, if you're in the community, and if you have the time, come down and ask any questions you want of the Recovery Task Force or the Recovery Committee. We are working on a shared vision of getting everybody home safely, everybody home as fast as reasonably possible. And when you drive around the community, for some people that haven't been back in the community, some of the listeners that call from far away because of different circumstances, you certainly see progress in the community. So not to be a naysayer, I'm very positive in what's happening, and I see the smell of fresh wood in Timberlea and Wood Buffalo and Beacon Hill. There's sure. And I just confirmed with another visit to Slave Lake, took a member of Slave Lake around our community, and they're just absolutely astounded by the devastation that was in our community and the progress to be made by the Recovery Task Force and our residents. So together we can, together we will.
Well, thanks very much, Councillor McGrath. And like we said, tomorrow night at Council, second and potentially third reading of an amendment to the land use bylaw to repeal flood zone restrictions. That'll be debated at Council, and then at the Wood Buffalo Recovery Committee on Wednesday night at 5 o'clock, whether you want to join us in chambers, watch us online, or follow us on television at Shaw TV Fort McMurray. There will be a presentation on the Waterways engagement process to date and that survey. So hopefully you'll join us in person, or you can join us online or on Shaw TV. So thank you so much, Norm, and we'll be hearing from you again soon, I'm sure. Thanks very much. We're going to move on. We're going to go, back to the online portion. We have a lot of online questions tonight. And this one here is from John, another council question. He's saying, I heard that council approved the cancellation of a bunch of development fees last week. What were they, and can you give me more information on what that looks like? So I'll be honest, guys, you approved about 12 different things. I do have the list here, so if I have to take it, but if Councillor McGrath wants to take a stab to start.
Well, thank you, Adam. And while you're reading through the sheet, we have a suite of options that have been presented to Council. There's 11 in the suite, and then there's an amending motion of cancelling all tipping fees. And certainly we're working with the province of Alberta and our administration to see exactly how can we do that, and making sure that our good friends, the insurers, are not let off the hook for their responsibilities. But at the end of the day, what we're trying to do for our residents is to make sure they have every nickel out of their insurance property or their insurance coverage to make sure they build a home that they had pre-fire. So if we can serve our residents in a capacity that makes sure that they can have that toilet they had or the marble on their kitchen table, what we're trying to do is look at these charges and bring back some benefits, and we'll use the insurers, the Red Cross, the municipality, the provincial government to realize the funds that are available to assist our residents. So that's what we do here as a Wood Buffalo Recovery Committee. That's what we do as a council, and certainly we work in harness and cooperation with our administrators here with the municipality. And it just takes a team effort. And these motions that became before council, they were passed unanimously, and they get support. And as long as we don't burden our ratepayers or taxpayers with costs that should be burdened by others. So it's certainly a spirited approach is what we're looking at.
Well, thanks, John, for the question. And thank you, Councillor McGrath. I know there was a motion of yours on surveys and a motion of Councillor Germain's on a variety of the fees. So there is 12 different measures. I won't go through them all so we can get to some more questions from our residents, our listeners. But overall, the package is an estimated $11.5 million approved by council last week, and there's more to come. We're going to go to the phones for the first time. This question is here. Jordan is from Gillis. Gillis, are you out there? Hey, how you doing?
Hi, I'm doing well, thank you very much. Working late at night here, trying to get some stuff done. So I have a question for Mr. Dupree. And hello?
Yes, Gillis, go right ahead, sir.
I'm sorry, the line was very, very dead. And also a reflection on what Councillor McGrath just mentioned. As of November 1, there's going to be the $30,000 to $35,000 increase in building costs directly as a result of the new building code that's been enacted November 1. What protections do our homeowners have that will not get their permits in before November 1 with respect, if any, to that particular change in the permits? Seems to me this is something that maybe there is some political will that could be making some effort on this end. And in keeping with what Councillor McGrath said, let's try to keep as much of the money in the pockets of the residents, many of whom may not have the building code change protection that would be seriously impacted by this change on November 1.
Well, thank you very much, Gillis, for the question. That's a great question. I know you asked specifically for Mr. Dupree, so we'll go to Rob Dupree from IBC. Rob.
Hi, Gillis, and thank you very much for the question. Yes, you are right. Effective November 1st, there are some changes that are coming down in relation to the energy code that are going to be coming. Now, these items have been in place for a while. They're just actually going to be starting to be enforced coming in November. So you're right. If you do get your development permit and your rebuild permit into the municipality and it is approved prior to November 1, then you're still subject to the rules that are in place today. If it is after November 1, then there are new guidelines and new requirements that have to take place and for your actual building of your property. The best advice that we can give is to reach out to your specific insurance adjuster and to find out how these changes are going to specifically impact your specific situation. Your adjuster will know your limits that you do have available to you and what your insurance policy will be able to cover. Depending on what has been paid out already and what limit is available, this particular change could have an impact in your overall policy, and you may not have enough money or sufficient coverage to pay for the full cost of the rebuild. That's a very specific detail and very individualized to your own policy, so I encourage you to reach out to your adjuster and have that conversation. If you're having some difficulty getting a hold of your adjuster, you can certainly reach out to us. We can be reached at our Consumer Information Center at 1-844-227-5422, and we may be able to assist you in trying to get a hold of the adjuster and get the information that you need for your specific policy. Thank you for the call, Gillis.
Well, thank you very much, Rob, for that, and thank you for the question. We're going to go back to the phones, but before I do that, I'm going to remind everyone, if you'd like to ask a question, you can press *3, and one of our operators will take your call and your question. Or you can type your question into the question field if you're online tonight at rmwb.ca/townhall. So we're going to go back to the phone lines, like I said. Is Laura there?
Yes, I am.
Hi, Laura. How are you?
I'm good. Actually, the two questions I did put forward, one was the tax relief for property taxes, and the other was about the building permit reduction of fees. But I did come up with a new question, if it's okay to ask IBC that one.
But that was our fault because I think we may have answered your questions to some extent early on. So thanks for putting those in, but I'm happy to answer them again. But yeah, if you have an IBC question, go right ahead.
Okay, I was talking to my adjuster because my lot in Abbotsford has been cleared and foundation removed, so I have a huge hole up there now. I wanted to get it backfilled by a separate contractor because it'd be cheaper, and I was told by my adjuster that it had to be part of the rebuild cost and the builder cost, and that's kind of forcing me to find a builder between now and the deadline of October 31st. And I'm just wondering, is that a true statement that it cannot be separated from my rebuild cost?
Well, thank you, Laura, so much for the question. And like we mentioned, we'll go to Rob Dupree with the Insurance Bureau of Canada, please.
Hi, Laura. Thank you for the question. It seems like there might be a bit of a misunderstanding about what coverage and which areas of your policy cover the actual cost. So under your usual common homeowner's policy, you would have funding available for your dwelling. That dwelling funding or that limit of coverage would cover things like your debris removal, backfilling if that's required, all permit fees, and all of the actual rebuild costs as well. So they're all coming from that same area, from that same dwelling limit. So to say that the backfilling is part of a rebuild versus part of a debris removal, I think that's just a misunderstanding as to the requirements and who can do the work. As far as backfilling, if you do want to backfill and that limit is available under your insurance coverage, you can absolutely use the service provider of your choice to complete that necessary work. So if it's one particular contractor that's able to give you a lot better price and a more competitive price than someone else, you can absolutely go with that person. You would just need to talk to your insurance company to let them know what you're doing to make sure that they're comfortable with that cost and that they're going to be paying the bill. If you do have a very specific issue with a particular adjuster and you would like us to get involved, you can send our Consumer Information Center an email at Fort Mac Fire, that's FORTMAC Fire, at ibc.ca. Give them some of the details of your specific information, and we'll do what we can to assist you. Thank you for calling, Laura.
Well, thanks once again, Danielle, for the question, and thank you, Rob, for the answer. We're going to go back to the phones. Dale, are you there? Hi, Dale, are you with us?
Yes, I am.
Hi, how are you?
Yes, I'm very good, thank you. On the introduction, on the summary, when the program was starting, there was some comment on the status quo on waterways, and I was just wanting to get some clarification on that, what the interpretation of that was. And the second question is, where is the floodplain boundary in waterways?
Well, thanks so much for that, sir. So the first question, I think, was about the survey results. I know we use some terms that have been maybe a little more familiar, but when we say status quo, that was defined, I believe, as to rebuild in waterways as close to what we had before as possible. So when we see status quo, that's what we mean by that. The survey results, to anyone who's just joining us, they are available now. They are public. rmwb.ca. You can check out what fellow Waterways residents said as part of that survey. Your second question was about the definition of the floodplain. So I don't know if we're going to go to perhaps Bryce Horbaczewski, our Acting Manager of Operations at Azela from Planning and Development, if you'd like to weigh in. And we also have Councillor Germain. So we'll start with Bryce. We'll go to Councillor Germain, then Azela. If they don't cover it, we should be all right.
So the flood mitigation map, it was already public knowledge in through a Waterways presentation that was presented. And if you go onto our website, is that we should be able to pull that. You should be able to pull it up from past meeting minutes, be able to grab that mitigation map, because it's hard to explain where all those boundaries are because of the elevation.
Okay, thanks, Bryce. I know if you go to rmwb.ca/engage, sir, I think it was Dale, There's a presentation from the September 8th here for you public engagement session where Erin O'Neill, our manager, not our acting manager of operations, she goes through that presentation that Bryce just alluded to. So you can check out exactly where in that slide deck where the floodplain is. There's what's called the primary and then secondary. So there's some details around that, as well as the actual elevation itself at being around that 250 at the 250 meter mark, a 1 in 100 year storm. I know Councillor Germain, you also wanted to weigh in on that as well, if you'd like to.
Hi there, Dale. Sheldon Germain here. I just want to say that the floodplain kind of goes up onto Tolan Drive, beside the hockey rink land. That's the 250. The provincial government has mandated a 1 in 100 flood protection of 250.2 meters. So part of what the demountable wall will do is provide that protection up to the 250.2. Also, the other request that we've been pressing the provincial government for is DRP protection, meaning if a flood was to occur before the wall was in place, that your home or rebuilt home would be protected, eligible to receive support. Status quo basically means that you can build the similar home that your insurance, the good people at IBC, will allow you to do under your policy. And so that would be status quo in terms of your lot. I hope that helps, Dale. If not, we could touch base at one of the Here For You engagement sessions that I always attend.
Adam, if I can just say it's Jeanette here. What I recommend, Dale, is come to the Here For You sessions. There will be maps there. We can have one of our task force or RMWB employees actually show you on the map what your risk is. I think that's kind of what your question is. You want to assess what is the risk of rebuild for yourself. So I would absolutely recommend a one-on-one conversation with one of our recovery team or RMWB employees to assist you in that determination. Thank you.
Okay, thank you so much for that, Jeanette. Thank you, Dale, for the question. Thank you, Bryce. Thank you, Councillor Germain. I think, Azayla, I'm looking over. You're okay with that to that extent? Okay, awesome. Thanks, Dale, so much for the question. We're going to go back to the phones. This question is from Sherry. Sherry, are you there?
I'm here. Hello.
Hi, Sherry. How are you?
I'm great this evening. We had talked about a month ago, and I just want to first and foremost thank Councillor Keith McGrath for stepping up to the plate and being an advocate. Keith and myself grew up in the community, and I've been in town for 40 years, and I don't want to bail out, and I don't want to leave. But right now my frustration is with my insurance company. I've done everything that I have to do. My lot is demoed. I paid out of pocket for survey. I paid out of pocket for development permit, and everything's done. So my adjuster has done everything he is supposed to do. Now it's in AMA's hand. I want my footings and foundation in by the end of October. I don't want to do a winter build. I want to do a sub-winter build, and I'm just not getting support.
Well, thanks so much, Sherry, for the question. I'm going to send that one to Rob Dupree with the IBC, and then Councillor McGrath, if you'd like to say thank you to our wonderful caller. Go right ahead, Rob.
Hi, Sherry, and thank you very much for the call. And I agree, Councillor McGrath has been very good with dealing with us and certainly as an advocate for everyone. I'm very sorry that you're having some challenges through your insurance. There is quite a lot of work that the insurance companies are dealing with, and they are working really hard, but clearly they're not meeting your expectations and getting back to you on a timely basis. On our website at ibc.ca, we do have a frequently asked question on what to do if you disagree with your insurer. Now, it doesn't sound like you're disagreeing with your insurer, it's just not a very timely response, but in there it gives a number of options that you have. One of the first things is trying to escalate the matter to a supervisor or manager. Find out who the adjuster, and it sounds like this would be an independent adjuster that's reporting to someone at the actual insurance company. You can find out from the adjuster who they're reporting to see if you can have a conversation with them and let them know that you'd like to move forward with everything, that you've done everything that you can do, and this is a process that you'd like to follow in relation to getting your footings and foundation in prior to the colder weather that's going to be coming here in this region pretty quickly. If you're not able to get a hold of a supervisor or manager, on their actual website for each insurance company, they do have an internal escalation process, and each company typically has an ombudsperson who deals with some of these issues. So you could certainly be escalating it to one of those people at that particular company and explain your situation to them, let them know that you need a response and you want to move forward very quickly, and hopefully that will be able to get you through the process. As an alternative, you can also reach out to us as well. We may be able to have a contact over there that we can help move things forward a little bit faster. If you're in town and in Fort McMurray, you can stop by at the Hardin Street building and come visit Dave Johnson between 10 a.m. and 4:30 p.m., or we'll certainly be at the Here For You session that's coming on Thursday that's going to be in Jubilee Plaza. Just provide us with your details of who it is that you're dealing with, your claim number, the particulars of it, and we may be able to move things along a little bit quicker for you so that you can get a response to your questions that you have. Thank you for the call, Sherry.
Well, thanks very much, Sherry. Thank you, Rob, for that. I know Councillor McGrath, you'd like to say something as well.
Yes, thank you, Sherry. And, I can only tell you, and not because Rob is handing me a $5 bill right now, the IBC, they're located on the 5th floor, and we've been working with them since the middle of May. And certainly their door is always open. They're here to help our residents. I haven't seen anybody get turned away. In fact, the whole recovery task force is on the 5th floor. And I can tell you that you might have mentioned my name, but behind and just as strong, I look at my two fellow councillors, Sheldon Germain and Alan Vinnie. We started this journey out with this committee, the Wood Buffalo Recovery Committee, in the middle of May. We've been working with the provincial government, the federal government, and anybody that'll listen to us on behalf of our residents. And then we're added with 6 public members that work for you every day. And we're supported by the team that are here this evening, external agencies, and most importantly, on the 5th floor, the recovery task force led by Dana Wilworth, a guy that's well versed in this kind of work. And you can rest assured that we won't leave a stone unturned until we make sure our residents are returned to a safe community. And we also know, sitting around the table, there's many of us collectively been here for 100 years plus, and we're just here for the good of the community, and we want to make sure that we build back better, but we also want to make sure that nobody falls between the cracks, and that's why IBC has been housed here in the building. They're here for us each and every day, and even on the weekends I can get a hold of them. And again, I'd like to reiterate, Facebook's a tool. It can be good some days and very ugly other days. But on the 5th floor, you have people that are working on your behalf each and every day. And as elected officials, we won't shy away. We're here to help you. We're here to listen to you. And I like the fact that we have these community engagement sessions. Now we're going to have probably up to 2 a week that we replace the town hall. And today, when we first started this journey 13 weeks ago, I believe our first attendance on the call was over 12,000 people. Tonight, I look at what's in front of me that you can't see. We have 4,300 people. So that tells me we're making progress, and that mirrors what I see in the community. There is some progress happening. Is it fast enough? For some, maybe not, but safety don't go at a speed. It goes as we need to. So again, I just want to say just kudos to the residents. We're with you. We share the pain with you, and we're going to work hard and continue to fight that common cause of looking after our best assets, and there are people within the region. Thank you.
Well, thanks very much, Councillor McGrath. Thank you, Sherry, for the question. Thank you, Rob, as well. So we're going to go back to the online portion. Before I do that, I'll remind everyone out there, if you'd like to ask us a question, got about 15 minutes remaining in the call, you can press *3, and an operator will take your question and punch it through to us. Or you can type that question into the question field, rmwb.ca/townhall. These 2 questions will be for Zayla and our Planning Development Department. So they're both Planning Development questions, I think. First one is from Justin, second one's from Lori. So I'll read Justin's question first. He's asking, how long will it take to submit and get approval on a development permit? I think we know the magic amount of hours we've been telling the public. I know Jamie Doyle, I think I've heard him say that more than anything else. And then from Lori, once my development permit is approved for a single-family home in Abassan, can I start pouring the foundation? So Zayla, I'll go to you for those two.
Hi, Justin, and thank you for your question. Really, the development permit, as soon as you submit all the documents that are required for the development permit, we then deem that application complete and should be processed in 2 or 3 days. So if there is any information missing, we will contact you and try to get that from you as soon as possible so we don't get hung in the process. So really it's a matter of you submitted a complete application. And for Lori, if you have a development permit approved, you just need to apply for a building permit. So you can start pouring your foundation. And the building permit requirements are online. You can also apply for the permit online, and you can also come to planning and development, and we will guide you through the process at the front counter. You can meet with a planner, and they will explain that for you step by step.
Well, thank you so much, Zayla, and thank you, Justin and Lori, for those questions. All right, we're going to go back to our online portion. Actually, this one's going to be Zayla for you again, I can tell you that. This question's coming in from Jamie. He's asking, and actually it was Jamie, I think, called into Councillor McGrath. Sorry, this is not an online question. From Jamie Matty, if he's out there, hope he's enjoying some Miskinaw golf amongst all this. I know it's been a tough summer, so Jamie, if you're listening in, it's great to, I guess, talk to you like this. Jamie's from Beacon Hill, Zayla. He's asking, I have a duplex. Can this duplex be now a single-family home? So maybe you can speak to the process. I know we had the overlay bylaw approved last week, so go right ahead.
Hi, Jamie, and thank you for your question. So yes, you can apply for a single-family home that before was a duplex. So the recently approved overlay allows for that to happen, and that development proposal has to comply with the land use regulations of the district. So I'll encourage you to come to planning and development with your proposal so we can look into your options and make sure that what you are proposing fits into the district regulations. And so you can meet with a planner and they can explain that to you in detail.
Well, thanks so much, Azalea, and thank you, Jamie, for the question that came in just as we were going on air tonight. So we are going to go back to the phone line. Ali, are you there?
Yes.
Hey, Ali, how you doing?
Good, I'm doing good.
Go right ahead with your question.
Yeah, my question is for Red Cross. I am a small business owner, and we got the email in September. It mentioned they are going to pay another $1,000 for the small business recovery. I want to know when they are going to do that.
Well, thank you, Ali, so much for the question. We know that small business recovery is a huge part of our overall recovery campaign plan and effort. So first we'll go, I know there's a Red Cross component in there. We'll go to Melanie Solaire with the Red Cross. We'll follow it up with Maria Narani with her Economic Development Department. Melanie, go right ahead.
Thank you so much for the question. Eligible small business owners, sole proprietors, and tradespeople registered with the Regional Municipality of Wood Buffalo could receive modest financial support of up to $20,000 in a phased approach. I heard you mention the $1,000, which we refer to as Phase 1 emergency assistance. So if you registered already, you would have received the initial $1,000. If you weren't able to register yet, it's not too late. When we launch Phase 2, we are hoping that Phase 2 will be launched mid-October, just in time for Small Business Week. So we are working right now to get all of that up and ready. Phase 2 is the next step. Again, folks who have not registered and have not yet received the initial $1,000 will still be eligible through that process. Phase 2, we'll realize up to $8,000 of eligible funding when we reach that point, hopefully mid-October. So you can continue to check our website at www.redcross.ca/Alberta Fires Business for updates and further details. Thanks for your question.
Well, thank you so much, Melanie, and thank you for the question. Was it Ali? Sorry, I lost the screen there for a second. Ali, thanks so much. I think Maria's looking over. She's saying that Melanie covered it all. So once again, an all-star answer by Melanie Soler from the Red Cross. And I know our Economic Development Department is working every day to help our small businesses in the community. A question that just came in on the phone, we think should be a good one. Had a lot of questions on it this week. Jason, are you with us?
Yeah, I am.
Hi,
yeah, I
was
wondering what type of further remuneration is available for temporary residents and renters of the Wood Buffalo region that were displaced by the fire.
Sorry, Jason, could you repeat that? I just think you kind of cut out on this for a second.
No problem. I was wondering what type of remuneration is available for the temporary residents and renters displaced by the Wood Buffalo fire.
Okay, thank you so much for that. Sorry, something just cut out in our system there for a second. I'm going to go up to Melanie Soler with the Red Cross. If Melanie, you could take a stab at that.
Sure, thanks. I heard you mention temporary residents. I'll just clarify here that residents in the RMWB prior to the fire event are eligible for assistance and support. This includes renters as well. So since reentry, we have been assisting with items such as food, clothing, medical equipment, items for babies or children, transportation supports, and occupational items that may help you return to work. We have also been providing housing assistance to both renters or homeowners. So if you have not to date received assistance, you may call and book an appointment at 888-553-5505. And again, if you are looking for immediate household assistance, you can articulate that clearly to the person answering the phone, and we are expediting rental and mortgage payment assistance. Thank you.
Well, thanks very much for the question. Thank you, Melanie, for that as well. We're going to go back to the phone lines. Mike, are you there? Hi, Mike, are you still with us?
Oh, yeah. I'm sorry. I'm just out walking the dog.
Hey, right on. Go right ahead with your question.
Well, my question concerns earlier I think at the beginning you were talking about a tax reduction for all Wood Buffalo residents of like at least 1/12. So I was just curious, is this supposed to kick in soon? Should have it already started or not? Because as of today, my taxes have only gone up. I'm sure I'm not the only one as well.
No, thanks so much for that, Mike. I know it would depend on initially, leaving aside the wildfire, your assessment. I also know there's the provincial education tax portion that'll come through on municipal taxes, so that may be a factor. I can't speak to your specific circumstances, but I'll first allow Councillor McGrath to weigh in, then I can talk about the details about the program.
Yeah, hi, Mike. Not that I'm from Wall Street on the Financial Times, but one of the issues that we had this year was in previous years when the government before the government changed, we shielded our residents from the provincial sales tax because it was shared. We stepped in and shared that cost burdens, and we paid the uplift. So what you're seeing now on your tax portion of your bill, you see that the education tax is actually cost more to the residents than our residential tax. And certainly we're gifted in the sense where our oil sands pay about 96% of our taxes. So that when you go back this evening, you can look at your tax bill and see that the worth of the education tax outweighs the worth of the residential tax. So that's the first answer to your question. And because it's not covered this year by the municipality, it's the first year you see that increase, and your assessment on your home could change from year to year depending on the improvements you made in your home. And the tax breaks that have been realized and voted on by council there's a full-fledged report coming back to you as a homeowner in the mail that explains that out on the tax relief that you'll receive. So hope that helps understand that, and we'll do our best to, in the coming weeks, to make sure those deliverables are made to our residents.
Well, thanks very much, Mike, for the question. Hope everything's going all right on the other end, and thank you, Councillor McGrath, for that. And as we mentioned, you can go to rmwb.ca/wildfire tax relief. Those details are now available. So thank you to administration, thank you to everyone involved for getting that together. Followed a recommendation from the Wood Buffalo Recovery Committee and an initial motion from Councillor McGrath. At Council, like I said, rmwb.ca/wildfire tax relief. You view the details there. Letters will be sent to property owners for that residential taxation relief program. So we're going to go right to the conclusion of our program here tonight. And before I close out the call, I'd like to ask our chair of the Wood Buffalo Recovery Committee, Jeanette Bankhurst, to make some closing remarks. Jeanette?
Thanks, Adam. And thank you to everyone on the call and for those tuning in online, joining us again this evening. As our community continues our recovery journey, I hope some of you are able to attend our public meetings on Wednesdays and our community engagement sessions on Thursdays. Have a good night, everyone.
Well, thank you very much, Jeanette. And as you mentioned, our Here For You community engagement session this week will be at Jubilee Plaza, here right next door to Municipal Hall, as part of a special event that's taking place in the community, a charitable event. So we're moving that from Shell Place to Jubilee Plaza for this week. So and your colleagues and your friends and your neighbors out there that normally attend, please pass that word around. We'll be doing everything we can to notify our residents. This is it for the night. A full audio replay will be available soon at rmwb.ca/townhall. We should let you know that this is our final scheduled telephone town hall and is our 13th since June when re-entry took place. As your questions have become more specific to your individual needs, we have heard from you that you'd rather connect with us directly or face-to-face at one of our Here For You engagement sessions. This will also allow us to have better dialogue with you and hold more engagement sessions all around the region throughout the week as required. Keep in mind that if there is ever a good opportunity to reintroduce the telephone town hall format, we won't hesitate to do so if that's what's best for the community. I also allow, before I finish things off, for my final finale, I'll send things over to Councillor McGrath.
Thank you, Adam. And I just wanted to thank the people that are on the call this evening, our residents that are calling in and listening to the questions that are asked, people around me around this table. And I know 5 months ago today, a lot of us, our lives have changed, and we'll stabilize again as a community, but more so, a week from today, we'll sit around with our families, our friends, and celebrate Thanksgiving. And we have a lot to be thankful for. With the exception of two young people that lost their lives, we owe a lot to our first responders, and especially the All Saints as well, for getting people out of our community. 5 months ago today, it took a community effort, and certainly I'm proud of our council colleagues. I'm proud of the Wood Buffalo Recovery Committee. I'm proud of the Wood Buffalo Task Force and the residents more so, for the resilience and how they came together. And I just want to wish everybody a Thanksgiving. And I know that we sit around the table this year. It'll be a little different for a lot of families, but know that maybe the Thanksgiving in 2017 we'll have some big wins with half our rebuild done and well on our way to complete recovery.
Well, thank you, Councillor McGrath. And I'll remind everyone, in addition to our regular Here For You community engagement sessions, to connect with us, you can visit rmwb.ca or call or email Pulse 24 hours a day, 7 days a week at 780-743-7000 and pulse@rmwb.ca. If you have a recovery-specific question for the Wood Buffalo Recovery Committee or Task Force, you can always email recovery@rmwb.ca. And we will also be beginning this week, being on the phone next week for our Pulse line, a recorded message from our WBRC Chair, Jeanette Bankhurst, which will act as a weekly update. Have a good evening, everyone, as we remain here for you, safe, resilient, and together. Thank you.